I fell in love with my straight best friend's boyfriend. In this century, romance seems to have taken a back seat. People prioritize finding someone for drinks, sex, and social media posts over genuine connection. But it's all fake. After the first date, communication fizzles out. My advice? Don't give in to pressure to have sex on the first date, and avoid Instagram influencers who just want a trophy date. Instead, hold out for someone who truly wants to build a connection. Don't be a victim of this one-sided dating era. It can be tiring, but it's hard to fulfill everyone's requirements. Jessica, my best friend since high school, invited me to his bar, which has an acoustic night on Thursdays. I had a date planned for this, but surprise, surprise, he ditched me last minute. So here I was about to become the third wheel with Jessica and her boyfriend Paul. I love Jessica, and I was so thankful to her. Otherwise, I would have ended up in my room devouring a whole pizza pie or a bucket of ice cream. Today wasn't about boys, but about friendship. I arrived first at the bar. It was a dazzling place. The vibe in here was out of place. I took a table right at the center of the stage. It had Christmas and hanging lights, and the music was great. The people here were all easy on the eyes. I texted Jessica that I was here and sent her a picture of our view, to which she replied with an overexcited emoji. I love her. I got the menu, and even the drinks were as exotic as the place was. They definitely had a theme going on. The bar was called Oz, like Wizard of Oz, and the drinks were all kinds of references to the books and the movie. The Yellow Path, the Red Shoes, Cold Heart, and Lion's Brave. I saw one of the waiters come my way, and damn, this boy knew how to bring all the attention to him. It was like everyone wanted a piece of him, and suddenly so did I. Hey, what would you recommend? I smiled at him as I eyed the menu. He leaned in so I could smell his cologne. Well, it depends. If you want something tropical and strong, I would suggest the Lion's Bravery. If you want something a little sour, I would say go for Red Shoes. But if you want something sweet and not too strong, the Yellow Path is the way to go. It sounded like a poem. This place was something. I think I'll go with Lion's Bravery. I'll need some today. Good choice, and no need to need bravery to come to a place alone. Sometimes we find comfort in loneliness. He winked at me before I could even tell him I wasn't coming here alone. My drink arrived faster than Jessica and her boyfriend, so I took a sip of it. And hell yes, this was like a sweet punch of rum. It was sweet just in the right way, and with 2 or 3 of these, I might end up fucked up. My waiter went on stage. Hello everyone, welcome to another Acoustic Thursday at Oz. For those who are here for the first time, thanks for stopping by, and we hope you have a magical night. The crowd applauded as he descended from the stage. As he did, a cute handsome boy walked by and greeted him. Was he the owner? I couldn't tell. I locked eyes with the boy, hugged him, and felt a contagious energy and confidence radiating from him. He even smiled at me, and something inside me shifted, just as I noted who was behind him. Jessica arrived. Damn, he was her boyfriend. I stood up and greeted her. You're finally here, I said, and she smiled. You know how boys are these days. They take even longer than I do to get ready. Paul joined us at the table, smiling. Don't believe everything she tells you. We're late because of her, he joked, pulling me into a hug instead of shaking my hand. I couldn't help but take a whiff. These straight boys knew how to play with our senses, as he smelled divine. Do you know him? I asked Paul, pointing at the waiter. Oh, Orlando? Yes, he's my friend and the owner of this place. My cheeks grew warm. He's the owner? I thought he was a waiter. Yes, he likes to serve first-time customers and make sure they feel welcome. Trust me, once you visit this place, you won't want to go anywhere else. His words hit me, and as soon as I walked in, I felt under a spell. Then he came and made sure I was right under his spell. And after that drink, I'd do anything he told me to do. What are you having? Paul asked, taking my drink. Lion's Bravery. Interesting. We'll have the Red Shoes and Cold Heart for my dearest, he said with a wink in Jessica's direction. What's up? I asked Jessica, who seemed a bit off. My dad isn't doing well. I might have to travel tomorrow to check on him, but let's enjoy tonight. We haven't gone out in a while, and I can't believe this is the first time you've met my boyfriend of 3 months, she said as Paul leaned in. Yes, you're more handsome than the picture she showed me, but I'm guessing we never met because you were too busy dating the wrong guys, am I right? He ended with a joyful tone, and I wish the earth would swallow me and throw me into a dumpster. Someone went up to the stage and they started singing Just the Way You Are by Bruno Mars. Everyone sang along, and although the boy didn't have a great voice, he had a great stage presence. The night went on and became magical. The music, the people, the vibe, and the drinks had me laughing like I hadn't in ages. I couldn't remember how many drinks I had down. All I knew was that I was having a good time. Then, to my surprise, Paul left us and got up on stage. Is he? I asked Jessica, and she nodded. He has a good voice. You'll see. She finished and went to check her phone. Probably about her father. I felt bad for her as I was here getting drunk while her mind was elsewhere. When I heard the soundtrack of the song playing, I had chills. He started singing Stay With Me by Sam Smith. His voice made me feel things. I saw Jessica staring at him, but it didn't seem to be having the same effect on her as it did on me. She started singing and moving to the stage gracefully. He smiled at Jessica and blew her a kiss, which she pretended to catch. Then he looked at me, really looked, and I was bewitched by this boy. Oh boy, this was bad. I couldn't take my eyes off of him, and for the remaining of the song, neither could he. I felt too drunk and scared of doing the wrong thing. I walked to the bar and asked for a bottle of water. I saw the waiter, well, the owner, eyeing me. Are you having a good time? He asked. And hell, that cologne and my drunk self weren't a good match. Yes, although I could have a better time, I said with my flirty tone. God, not me, throwing myself at a straight boy. And could we help with that? He said, and I felt bolder than ever. Sure you could, I said with a smile. I saw Paul walking towards Jessica's table and kissing her. However, I saw his eyes looking for me while he did that. Fuck, I murmured, and I saw the owner still looking at me. I don't think I got your name though, I said, trying to get our conversation back on flow. Orlando. I thought Paul had shared that with you already, he said. And is he flirting with me? Fuck yes, he did mention it. Sorry, I'm Miguel. Nice to meet you, and let me tell you, this place is something else. I'll become a regular. You might even have to drag me out of here with the alcohol and these drinks. Hell. Well, we try to provide the best service, and if I have to take you to your home myself, I will. That was bold. Wow. I believe in what you're saying. I would love that. But not in my drunk stage. Just in my tipsy one. I winked at him, and he laughed. Where's the bathroom? I started feeling awkward. I wasn't sure if he was flirty with all the customers or if he was actually being flirty with me. Right there in the corner, he pointed, and I walked to the bathroom. I splashed my face with cold water. Wake up, Miguel. This isn't a fairy tale. This guy's probably hitting on you, so you need to have a good comeback. There was a knock on the door. I wasn't sure if I locked it. There's someone here, I said, rolling my eyes. If the door was locked, it was because someone was using the bathroom. There was another knock. God, people are so impatient. The door opened and someone rushed in. I was about to fight them when I saw that it was Paul. Excuse me, I'm here, I said, making a dramatic gesture. I thought he was rushing to the bathroom, but he pushed me against the wall and kissed me. Like, really kissed me. I felt his tongue inside my mouth and his arms pulling my body close to his. I've been dreaming of doing that the whole night. I pushed him away. I wasn't sure what to do or say. Instead, I let myself go and I pulled him in again, kissing him. I wanted to make sure I wasn't dreaming. This was real. This guy, who had literally sung his heart out, had come and kissed me. He could have been anyone in this whole place. But Jessica, we can't do this to her. I know, but I couldn't let this moment pass. I needed to know if I was losing my mind or if the chemistry was there because I've been suffocating all night. I let out a big sigh. Suddenly, the bathroom felt too close. I couldn't breathe. I saw him there, vulnerable, and all for myself. But I couldn't do this to my best friend. I walked out of the bathroom and there was Orlando. Fuck. I smiled at him and tried to keep it cool. He winked at me, and I went into the bar again. Give me your strongest drink. Are we getting to the point where you get too drunk, and I have to walk you home? If we are, you should give me your number and the address so I know where to take you. We exchanged numbers, and I felt Paul coming out of the bathroom with a smile on his face. Then he stood next to me. Don't get him too drunk, Orlando. He winked and slapped my back. Fuck, these gays were trying to murder me. I grabbed my drink and he left his hand there for a second too long. If you need anything else, you know where to find me. Enjoy your drink. This one's on the house. I was startled. He was totally flirting with me. There was no way this was in my mind. He wasn't being subtle about it. I had his fucking number, and soon he would have my address. I walked to the table with a grin painted on my face. What? Jessica asked, turning into gossip mode. I think Orlando is flirting with me. No way, please tell me you didn't throw yourself at him, Jessica said, giggling and taking a sip of her drink. No, I mean, kinda yes, but he also did his part, and I have his number. Oh shit, he really is, Jessica said, and we both howled. I told you. I could feel the unsettledness of Paul. He is my friend. That's weird. I don't know he was... Well, come on, Paul, no one is 100% straight. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if guys hit on you, which I'm pretty sure they do, but you don't see it, and there is nothing wrong with having a crush on someone of the same sex. I have, so totally fine. Not 100% straight, though. She joked and we all laughed. I saw a text and an emoji on my conversation from Orlando. I needed to keep it cool and not get too drunk tonight if I was really planning on taking him to my place. We kept drinking and talking. Jessica and I went on stage and sang Kiss Me More by Doja Cat and SZA. The crowd was going wild. Perhaps it was the alcohol or our energy, and Paul was in the VIP section cheering us on and recording us. We walked down all tipsy and I saw Orlando eyeing me and laughing. "I think it's time to go," I pointed out. "Remember, you have a flight to catch tomorrow, and maybe even packing to do. I know you leave shit for the last minute." "Guilty as charged," Jessica said. We paid our bills and walked out of the bar. Luckily, I came in a taxi, so I didn't have to drive. "What are you doing? Come in. I can take you to your place." "Are you sure?" I asked Jessica and Paul. "Totally. We're not letting you get in a taxi this late with a stranger who could kidnap you," Jessica joked. The drive was a little silent. We were singing and talked a bit about the whole night, and without even noticing, we were dropping Jessica off at her place. They shared a quick kiss and she hugged me from her front seat. "Get out and give me a proper hug. Also, you're the new designated co-pilot?" I walked out and hugged her. "Thanks for tonight. I had a lot of fun," she said, and I couldn't agree more. The night was something. We waited for her to get into her house, and she waved at us as she closed the door. "Where now?" Paul asked, and I could feel my heart sinking down on my stomach. "My place," I guided him, and within 10 minutes we were at my place. "I'm not that far from here, maybe 20 minutes max," he said, trying to start a conversation. "Oh, that's great. You can totally make it quick from here, at night then," I said, not sure of what to do or say next. "Yeah, well, I guess this is it. Thanks for coming with us tonight. It was totally fun," he said, and I nodded. "Thanks to you guys." I went to unlock the door, and he was there, holding my hand. "Can't leave without a proper goodbye," he said, and I felt his breath on me, making my heart and other parts of me tingle. "Paul, I can't," I said, and I barely finished the sentence before his lips were on mine. We kissed eagerly in the car. I think I had never kissed someone like this, with such passion and desire. It was like we couldn't wait to get under each other's skin. We broke the kiss after what felt like forever. "You're going to be the end of me," he said. "Have you ever?" I said, not sure of how to even formulate the question. "Not really. You're my first. Perhaps it's because you and Jessica have similar personalities, and there's something about you, the confidence you walk with and how authentic you are. That draws me to you." "Wow, I've never been told that. Maybe you need to start dating straight boys. I'm just a regular in the gay community," I said, rolling my eyes. "Well, maybe they just don't know how to appreciate you, that's all." I thanked him and kissed him on the cheek and ran towards my house. If I stayed another minute, I knew I was going to regret it. Once I got home, I texted Orlando my address, and he replied that he was on his way. A couple of days later, Jessica texted me that her father was doing a little better, but she was staying with him for a while. It was Paul's birthday that weekend, and they would have tickets to watch this play. She was begging me to go with him, as she knew he would appreciate the company. I hadn't texted him or anything. I didn't ask him his number, and besides, I was kind of seeing Orlando now. I went to Jessica's Instagram and found him right there. I caught a like he had left me a couple of days ago, and I hadn't even noticed. I followed him and liked some of his photos. He had this penetrating look. I could feel him through my phone screen. It was crazy. Within an hour, I had an alert from Paul checking on me. "What's up?" "Hey, I heard your birthday is this weekend, and you have an extra ticket for a play?" "Who could have told you that?" "A nice little bird told me you didn't like to be alone on your birthday, so I'm coming to be your +1 this weekend." This weekend came sooner than expected. I didn't even look much into what kind of play it was. I chose my favorite shirt, an olive green one, with my favorite brown pants and some boots. I had the sweater just in case. To my surprise, when Paul arrived, I told him to wait for me in the car, but I heard a knock on the door, and he had a bouquet of flowers in his hands. "This is the least you deserve for coming with me." I was startled. This was the first time a boy had bought me flowers. I looked at him and he was wearing this tux, and damn, I felt underdressed. But I wasn't going back there again. We wouldn't make it on time if I did. "Thanks for the flowers. You shouldn't have. This is for you." I handed him a little box and his eyes lit up. "A gift for me?" He sounded like an excited little kid. "Of course. It's your birthday. It's rude to be invited to a party and not bring a present," I joked, and he opened the box right there. I wasn't expecting that, but here we were. The surprise on his face was out of this world. It was an expression I wish I had a camera to capture, and hang a picture in my room. He asked me to help him put the necklace on his neck. It was a golden compass necklace, and Jessica had sent me some cash to get him a nice present, but this was all me. He looked at the necklace and then stared at me. Thank you. People don't tend to get me presents on my birthday, so this means a lot to me. We arrived at the theater and people were casually dressed, so I didn't feel underdressed. Paul held my hand as we walked. This boy was something. I was just going along with it. I mean, I was his +1. The play was something out of this world. It was a story of a family that lost everything and worked their way up. Paul and I held hands throughout the whole show. Sometimes he looked my way to check on me, and I couldn't stop watching him. He was pure emotion. He was crying in the middle of the play, and by the end of it, we were both standing, clapping, and crying. He took a look at me, and I swear the whole world stopped when he gave me that look. I couldn't avoid feeling guilty about what we were doing. I was betraying my best friend. We left the theater and drove silently. Then we stopped near the ocean, where other people were parked, probably drinking and hanging out with their friends. He didn't say a word. He stopped the car and looked at the sky. He sighed and left the car. I was there, unsure of what to do. He then opened my door and had his beautiful smile on his face. No phones, he said, showing that he had left his phone in the car. I left mine as well and followed him. This is my favorite spot. I come here while I'm feeling overwhelmed, and sometimes when I'm having my best days too. I lost my mom a couple of years ago, and she loved the ocean. When I moved to this city, I did it because of this same spot, a place where I could stare at the ocean and feel closer to her. I've never brought anyone here until today. I always like to come on my birthday and on hers. We sat on a rock bench and stared at the full moon. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? He asked. I felt my chest throbbing. God, this felt so wrong. Thanks for tonight. I don't have any words to thank you. I didn't know what to say. This was too much for me to handle. Too many emotions. I looked back at him, and he was staring at me with those shiny eyes. And it broke me. He held my hand, and we stared into the moon. Why did something so beautiful and genuine like this feel so wrong? I was about to say something, and he held my face in his hands. You're a beautiful human being. I wish I could give you everything I have, because since before I met you, I knew I would like you, but damn, I wasn't expecting this. He pulled me in and kissed me. Our kiss tasted of all the happy moments we would never have, of all the adventures, the trips, the unshared kisses, and more. Then it had a sour taste for all the what-ifs, all the sadness and fear, and then it reminded me of Jessica, and I had to stop. I can't. I'm sorry. I want to, but we can't. It broke my heart, but I had to say that. We walked back to his car and he left me at my house. I didn't say goodbye, but I could feel his stare as I walked into my house, and he stood there until I was home safe. He left me a text, but I couldn't make myself open it. I tried texting Oliver, but he didn't reply. Dating him felt one-sided, more like a hookup than a date. I mean, sex was good, but it wasn't more than that. He texted me after finishing at the bar or to tell me to go there and spend time with him, and then visit him at his place. And why with Paul, who it was mutual? I couldn't. What if I dated him in secret without Jessica knowing? What a horrible thought. And what a horrible human being we would be if we did this to her. Jessica made it home after 2 weeks. 2 weeks where I hadn't texted Paul. She told me to meet up at a cafe. She had some news to share. I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't want to ask if Paul was going there or not, as she hadn't mentioned him. I'll be there. After getting ready and having a slight mental crisis about what Jessica wanted to tell me, and if she knew anything about what happened between us, I walked to the cafe. She was there waiting for me, and there was a certain glow on her, just like in the movies after you have your life figured out. She looked just like that. Her father was much better, so that was the reason why she came back. There you are. I missed your pretty face. She hugged me, and damn, it felt like ages since we last saw each other, but no, it was simply a month. Yet so much had happened. Tell me what's up with you. I didn't hear much from you after Paul's birthday. He told me you had an amazing time and that both of you ended up crying. I owe you big time. I wouldn't have endured that, but enough of Paul. There's something else I want to tell you. What is it? Stop with the mystery. You're making me go insane, I joked. A cappuccino was brought to me. I know you, boo. More than you can think of. She ended this with a wink and cleared her throat. Okay, so I need to be honest with you. Paul isn't my boyfriend. He was a friend of mine from work. I had to tell him about you, and he was totally into you since I showed him your profile. So I had this weird date in my head. I thought of telling you he wasn't into girls, but I didn't have the nerve, and he didn't know how to tell you. So after my dad got sick, I didn't have the guts to tell you the truth, but I think you should know it. I mean, the guy is on you, even before he met you, and since that false love triangle thing, he had been all over you. I'm sorry it took me so long to tell you. What the fuck? Are you messing with me, Jessica? Don't do this to me. I was in shock. I had been played by my best friend and her friend who wasn't her boyfriend. But why didn't you tell me that they weren't anything? Why didn't I read into it? Why did they make out? I mean, some things made sense now that I saw them from another perspective. Talk to me. I could see that she was afraid I would hate her, but I couldn't. I saw where this came from. After having so many failed dates, so many guys playing me over and over, I see why she did what she did. But why did he play along? I mean, it worked. I won't deny that. But what about Orlando? I mean, he was just a fuckboy. He didn't see me for more than that. I didn't see that coming. Harry was thinking I was the worst best friend for making out with him. I didn't allow myself to go beyond that. Fuck you, Jessica. You had me dirty. You wouldn't accept a date from a gay friend from work. You would say I was hooking you up with a random gay you would never like, nor had anything in common, so I had to be creative. And what about him? I mean, I ghosted him for the past 2 weeks. I can't talk to him. Does he know you told me? Jessica shook her head. He told me to leave it. You wouldn't be that into him, and there was no point in you knowing the truth. But, because I know you like my own palm, I knew that you were playing hard to get and protecting your feelings, in your self-defense mode. So I knew the right thing was telling you. I pulled my phone and texted him right away. Okay, can I go? I asked her. And she had this glow on her face. I love you, and I hate you for this, but I love you more. I kissed her and rushed out of the cafe. It was a total cliché, but I had to see this guy. I called him, and he didn't answer, so I went to the only place I thought I might find him. Meet me in your spot. As I sat on the bench at the pier, I couldn't help but think about the last time I was there with Paul. It was his birthday, and we had sat there and watched the sunset. I felt guilty for not realizing his feelings for me then, but I couldn't let a guy come between my friendships. Suddenly, I smelled his cologne, and I knew he was approaching. He sat down next to me and said my name in the softest tone. I turned to face him, and he looked at the ocean, unable to meet my eyes. I heard you were playing to be straight, and my friend's boyfriend, I said, cutting to the chase. He shifted his seat uncomfortably. I can explain, he said. I interrupted him. Don't worry about it. I get why you did what you did. I'm always skeptical when it comes to dating or meeting new guys, so I understand, and I couldn't deny the chemistry between us since the first time I saw you. He looked relieved and asked about Orlando. I assured him that everything was fine and that we could still go to Orlando's place. We both laughed, and he turned to face me. Hi, my name is Paul. I'm bisexual and single. I prefer boys, funny ones, a little bit sarcastic, and that are passion-driven. I smiled. Nice to meet you, Paul. My name is Miguel. I'm gay, and I also like smart and funny guys who are single and available. I like that we think the same way, he said, smiling at me and kissing my hand. Nice meeting you, Miguel. I hope there isn't any friend or ex-boyfriend I have to deal with because I'm willing to if needed. I assured him that there was no one to worry about, and we kissed as the sun set. His kisses tasted like hope, laughs, adventures, and many happy memories. It was a moment in our own bubble of happiness, and I knew that I found someone special. The end. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.
Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.